Hello, it's Miss Secret back again with part 3 of chapter 6. As it turned out, when the time did come, I wasn't up on Watch Hill at all. One morning, with sleep still in my head, I emerged from my cave and there it was. A boat with a strange red-brown sails. I supposed it to be some kind of Chinese junk, and not that far out to sea either. Excitement got the better of me. I ran helter-skelter down the beach, shouting and screaming for all I was worth, but I could see at once that it was hopeless. The junk was not that far out to sea, but it was still too far too far for me to be either seen or heard. I tried to calm myself, tried to think. The fire! Light the fire! I ran all the way up Watch Hill without once stopping, Stella hard on my heels and barking. All around me the forest was cackling and screeching and whooping in protest at this sudden disturbance. I readied my cache of dry leaves, took my fireglass and crouched down beside the beacon to light my fire. But I was trembling so much with excitement and exhaustion by now that I could not hold my hand still enough. So I set up a frame of twigs and laid the glass over it, just as I had before. Then I sat over it, willing the leaves to smoulder. Every time I looked out to sea, the junk was still there, moving slowly away, but still there. It seemed an age, but there was a wisp of smoke, and shortly afterwards a glorious, wondrous glow of flame spreading along the edge of one leaf. I bent over it to blow it into life. That was when I saw his feet. I looked up. The old man was standing over me, his eyes full of rage and hurt. He said not a word, but set about stamping out my embryo fire. He snatched up my fireglass and hurled it at the rock below, where it shattered to pieces. I could only look on and weep as he kicked away my precious pile of dry leaves, as he dismantled my beacon and hurled the sticks and branches one by one down the hill. As he did so, the group of orangutans gathered to watch. Soon, nothing whatsoever now remained of my beacon. All about me now, the rocky scree was littered with scattered ruins of it. I expected him to screech at me, but he didn't. He spoke very quietly, very deliberately. "Damida," he said. "But why?" I cried. "I want to go home. There's a boat, can't you see? I just want to go home. That's all. Why won't you let me? Why?" He stood and stared at me. For a moment, I thought I had detected just a flicker of understanding. Then he bowed very stiffly from the waist and said, Gomenasai. Sorry. Very sorry." And with that, he left me there and went off back into the forest, followed by the orangutans. I sat there watching the junk until it was nothing but a spot on the horizon, until I could not bear to watch any more. By this time, I had already decided how I could best defy him. I was so enraged that consequences didn't matter to me now. Not anymore. With Stella beside me, I headed along the beach, stopped at the boundary line in the sand, and then, very deliberately, I stepped over it. As I did so, I let him know precisely what I was doing. "Are you watching, old man?" I shouted. "Look, I've crossed over. I've crossed over your silly line. And now I'm going to swim. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you don't feed me. You hear me, old man?" Then I turned and charged down the beach into the sea. I swam furiously until I was completely exhausted and a long way from the shore. I trod water and thrashed the sea in my fury, making it boil and froth all around me. "It's my sea as much as yours," I cried, "and I'll swim in it when I like." I saw him then. He appeared suddenly at the edge of the forest. He was shouting something at me, waving his stick. That was the moment I felt it. A searing, stinging pain in the back of my neck, then my back and my arms too. A large, translucent white jellyfish was floating right beside me, its tentacles groping at me. I tried to swim away, but it came after me, hunting me. I was stung again, in my foot this time. The agony was immediate and excruciating. It permeated my entire body like one continuous electric shock. I felt my muscles going rigid. I kicked for the shore, but I could not do it. My legs seemed paralysed, my arms too. I was sinking, and there was nothing I could do about it. I saw the jellyfish poised for the kill above me now. I screamed, and my mouth filled with water. I was choking. I was going to die. I was going to drown, but I did not care. I just wanted the pain to stop. Death, I knew, would stop it. Wow. So there's the end of chapter 6. Join Mr. Brady on Monday to find out what happens in chapter 7.